Ethan and Julian are 30. Both earn $90,000 a year, with exactly $90,000 in cash. Ethan drains every penny on a $400,000 suburban home. Julian continues to rent, dumping his entire $90,000 into an S&P 500 index fund, while society calls him a fool who throws money away. Welcome to the Baron's Ledger. Today, we put the American dream on trial. Financial mathematics has absolutely no compassion. By year 10, when the children grow up and expenses multiply, a devastating truth will be exposed. One man is quietly accumulating ultimate freedom. The other has willingly become a slave to his own asset. A quick reminder before we proceed, everything in this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only and is not financial advice. Always consult a certified professional before making any decisions with your money. Now, let's get into it. Year 1. The ownership emotion and the phantom ledger. Ethan signs the papers on a $400,000 home. He hands over his entire savings, $80,000 for the 20% down payment and another $10,000 vanishing instantly into the void of closing costs. His liquid wealth is officially zero. In return, he gets a set of brass keys and a $320,000 mortgage at 6.8% for 30 years. His monthly principal and interest payment sits at $2,086. But this is where the phantom ledger begins to bleed him. Property taxes at 1.5%, mandatory home insurance, and a conservative 1% maintenance fund add another $980 to his burden every single month. Ethan's true monthly cost is $3,066, and here is the brutal math they hide in the fine print. In month 1, out of that massive payment, a pathetic $272 actually goes toward paying down his debt. The remaining $2,794 evaporates completely, burned on interest, taxes, and bank fees. Yet, Ethan does not care. He is high on the ownership hormone. He spends his weekends painting the garage, obsessively mowing his backyard, and soaking in the endless congratulations from relatives who tell him he has finally made it. He feels like a master of his domain. Julian, meanwhile, chooses to rent an exact replica of Ethan's house for $2,300 a month. He drops his entire $90,000 net worth into an S&P 500 index fund. Every single month without fail, he takes the $766 difference between his rent and Ethan's bloated mortgage, and he auto-invests it directly into the market. It is cold, calculated dollar cost averaging, but Julian's path is psychologically punishing. While Ethan gets housewarming gifts, Julian gets interrogated at family dinners. The in-laws constantly demand to know why he refuses to settle down, lecturing him about how renting is just paying a landlord's mortgage. He takes the hits in silence. In the quiet of his rented living room, he battles severe insecurity. His wealth is nothing but a string of invisible digits on a glowing phone screen, completely exposed to the chaotic swings of the global economy. Ethan has a concrete foundation. Julian just has fluctuating data, but pride does not pay the bills. The euphoria of year 1 will quickly be tested when real family life begins in year 5. Year 5, as the family grows and the silent thief appears. Half a decade has passed. The honeymoon phase of early adulthood is entirely dead. Both Ethan and Julian are now married and have welcomed their first child into the world. The stakes have shifted overnight. The game is no longer about personal pride or proving a point to the in-laws. It is about providing a safe, stable sanctuary for a fragile new life. And this is exactly when the silent thief enters the equation. For Ethan, the math looks magnificent on a spreadsheet. After 5 years of making aggressive payments, his property has appreciated at a steady 3.5% per year. The house is now valued at roughly $475,000. His mortgage balance has slowly ticked down to $298,000. If you look at his net worth, Ethan possesses $177,000 in paper equity. Society tells him he is winning, but you cannot buy baby formula or pay medical bills with phantom equity. The maintenance slap strikes without mercy. In the suffocating heat of July, Ethan's central air conditioning unit violently dies. There is no landlord to call. There is no property manager coming to save him. It is an immediate, inescapable $8,500 invoice that completely guts his emergency cash. Worse, his local government notices his home is worth more, and they demand their cut. His property taxes automatically adjust upward, draining an extra $120 from his checking account every single month. Ethan wakes up to a dark realization. His suburban dream is actually a relentless, money-eating machine. His Saturdays are no longer days of rest. He trades his hard-earned weekend hours for exhausting, miserable trips to the hardware store, fixing leaky pipes, replacing shattered gutters, and repairing drywall. He is working for his house, not the other way around. Julian, on the other hand, stuck to the cold, unemotional math. His initial $90,000 investment, fueled by his disciplined $766 monthly contributions, rode the market's 10% average historical return. His portfolio has swelled to a staggering $195,000, and unlike Ethan's trapped equity, every single penny of Julian's wealth is entirely liquid. He can access it with the tap of a glass screen. But Julian is bleeding too. The silent thief for the lifelong renter is inflation. His landlord has steadily, ruthlessly hiked the rent by 3.5% every single year. What started as $2,300 a month is now a crushing $2,730 a month. Julian is tasting the bitter, undeniable pain of rent inflation. The mathematical gap between his rent and Ethan's fixed mortgage is shrinking fast, suffocating his monthly cash flow. Every year, when the lease renewal envelope slides under his door, a spike of cold anxiety hits his chest. He is raising a toddler now. The haunting fear creeps in daily. What if the landlord decides to sell the property? What if a corporation buys the building and forces them to pack up their child's nursery and move with only 30 days of notice? Julian has immense financial liquidity, but absolutely zero geographical control over his family's life. Both men are beginning to feel the heavy, exhausting burden of their choices, but they have not yet reached the ultimate inflection point. The true battle, where mathematics permanently separates their destinies, lies waiting right at year 10. Year 10, the double rupture, the shock of the two curves. A full decade has brutally evaporated. Ethan and Julian are now 40 years old. The youthful arrogance is gone. They both have two children, a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. They have officially entered the peak, relentless spending phase of family life. The grocery bills are massive. The medical expenses are constant. The sheer weight of existence has never been heavier. And this is the exact moment where the mathematical lines on our split screen violently diverge. Let us look at Ethan first. On paper, he is the undeniable victor of the American dream. His property value has surged. That initial $400,000 suburban home is now appraised at roughly $563,000. After 10 years of bleeding cash to the bank, his mortgage balance has finally ground down to $260,000. Run the simple subtraction. Ethan is sitting on a mountainous $303,000 of pure home equity. He hosts backyard barbecues and feels a profound sense of superiority. He owns his territory. But shift your eyes to Julian's side of the ledger. Julian endured a decade of mockery, but while Ethan was repairing gutters, Julian's stock portfolio quietly crossed into the terrifying, unstoppable magic of the exponential curve. Compounding interest has aggressively taken the wheel. His index fund has skyrocketed to an earth-shattering $390,000. The mathematics are staggering. The annual wealth his portfolio generates in mere interest has completely surpassed the actual cash he contributes. His money is now working infinitely harder than he is. But wait, stop for 3 seconds and look directly at this number. Ethan's $303,000 of equity looks gorgeous on a financial statement, but it is a liquid prison. If Ethan desperately needs $30,000 for his child's education or a massive business opportunity, he cannot saw off the corner of his living room and sell it. He has to submit an application to the bank to borrow against his own house at current interest rates. Meanwhile, Julian only has to press one exact button on his phone. The reality of this liquid prison begins to crush Ethan's career. He is suffocating in a geographic trap. A corporate recruiter calls him with an incredible offer to move across state lines for a massive, life-changing pay increase. But Ethan cannot simply pack his bags and chase the money. He is chained to the local school district. He is chained to the neighborhood. And worse, liquidating the house means paying a ruthless 6 to 8% broker fee. $35,000 to $45,000 of his hard-earned wealth would instantly vanish into thin air just to hand the keys to a stranger. He declines the job offer. He realizes, with a sickening drop in his stomach, that he does not own the house. The house owns him. But do not pity Ethan just yet, because Julian is facing a dark psychological terror of his exact own. The mental toll of the lifelong renter is creeping in. The psychological fear of homelessness is absolute. 10 brutal years of compounding inflation have completely devastated his rent checks. His monthly rent, which started at $2,300, has mercilessly exploded to $3,240. Think about the sheer gravity of that math. The monthly investment gap that he used to aggressively funnel into the market has been completely wiped out. The cash flow is gone. Julian is now paying significantly more in rent every single month than Ethan pays for his fixed mortgage. Julian sits on a mountain of liquid cash, yes, but every single month, his baseline survival costs bleed him heavier and faster than ever before. He is a millionaire in the making, utterly terrified of his landlord's next email. At year 10, Julian wins in liquidity and net worth, but Ethan possesses the ultimate weapon that Julian does not: a fixed housing cost that inflation cannot swallow. The next 10 years will dictate who actually survives. Year 20, the age 50 crossroads, two separate worlds, 2 decades have completely vanished. The children are no longer toddlers destroying the living room. They are young adults, packing their bags and heading out the door to universities. Ethan and Julian are 50 years old. The gray is in their hair, their energy levels have permanently shifted, and the financial paths they locked themselves into 20 years ago have now solidified into unbreakable, unchangeable realities. Let us pull Ethan's final ledger. After 20 brutal years of maintenance bills, property taxes, and bank payments, his commitment to the soil has finally delivered its heavy reward. That initial $400,000 house is now worth a staggering $790,000. He only owes the bank $160,000. In exactly 10 years, the debt will be entirely annihilated. His net worth tied directly to the dirt he stands on is an incredible $630,000. But the true victory for Ethan is not the massive equity. His ultimate victory is the aggressive power of fixed debt against a highly inflationary world. 20 years later, while groceries cost triple and cars cost double, Ethan's core principal and interest payment is exactly the same as it was the day he signed the contract: $2,086 a month. Compared to his 50-year-old salary, that payment is practically nothing. It is cheap, it is laughable. He walks through his front door with an absolute, unshakable psychological armor. He knows precisely where he will sleep when he is 80. No landlord can ever evict him. He has conquered the most vital element of human survival: shelter. Now let us examine Julian, the lifelong renter who absorbed 2 decades of social judgment and relentless rent hikes. Did his stubborn logic fail him? Absolutely not. Julian maintained a brutal, steel discipline. Even when his rent spiked, even when it hurt to watch his cash flow vanish, he never once touched the original portfolio. He let the engine of compounding interest run totally uninterrupted for 20 years, and the result is a mathematical earthquake. Julian's S&P 500 portfolio has crossed the bloodline. It has reached a mind-numbing $1 million. The sheer velocity of his wealth creation is staggering. He is sitting on a 7-figure liquid empire. He can cash out tomorrow, move to the mountains, or travel the world indefinitely. He holds the ultimate power of optionality. But Julian's freedom comes with a very dark, permanent shadow. The price he paid to build that $1 million fortress is the utter destruction of his baseline living costs. The rented house that once cost him $2,300. He is now bleeding between $4,500 and $4,800 every single month just to keep a roof over his head. And here is the truly terrifying part: it will never stop. The rent will never freeze. It will never go down. He has no endpoint. He is 50 years old, incredibly wealthy, but utterly cursed with the lifelong anxiety of a bill that will continue to inflate relentlessly until the day he dies. Ethan secured total peace of mind at the cost of his geographic mobility and his liquidity. Julian secured total financial power at the cost of eternal, escalating baseline anxiety. The ultimate question remains: what does freedom actually mean? Forget the garbage they sell you on social media. Financial freedom is not sitting under a palm tree sipping a brightly colored cocktail while your bank account magically refills itself. That is a cheap, predatory marketing lie. The cold, brutal reality of behavioral economics dictates a much darker truth. True financial freedom is not the absence of problems. It is simply acquiring the right to choose which specific set of miseries you are willing to face every single morning when you wake up. Do you want Julian's miseries? You acquire a massive, highly flexible liquid empire, yes, but you also actively choose the chaotic, terrifying volatility of the global stock market. You choose the stomach-churning psychological torture of watching $100,000 completely evaporate from your net worth during a single week of economic panic. You choose to stare at a glowing red screen and do absolutely nothing, and worst of all, You choose to face an infinite, ever-escalating rent bill that will relentlessly hunt you until the day you die. Or do you prefer Ethan's miseries? You secure the permanent, undeniable safety of your own dirt and walls, but you also actively choose the suffocating geographical cage of a concrete box. You choose the sudden, catastrophic $15,000 roof replacement invoice that you cannot escape, cannot negotiate, and cannot ignore. You choose to sign your name on a binding contract for a 360-month obligation to a massive banking institution that effectively owns a fraction of your life. Do not be fooled by the financial gurus. One path is not inherently, universally smarter than the other. The spreadsheet only produces a victory if you can actually survive the psychological warfare of your chosen path. Ethan's real estate strategy is a complete, wealth-destroying disaster if he gets restless and moves after 5 years. The broker fees will eat him alive. His math only works if he remains anchored to that exact plot of soil for over a decade, allowing time, leverage debt, and a permanently fixed monthly cost to slowly suffocate the effects of inflation. Julian's renter strategy is equally suicidal if he lacks absolute, unwavering emotional control. His mathematical compounding only works if he maintains a 20-year steel discipline. He cannot falter for a single month. He cannot give in to the profound temptation of spending that extra cash difference on a luxury vehicle, a nicer apartment, or a vacation. His victory requires exactly 240 months of flawless, robotic execution. There is no perfect, painless path to wealth. There is only the specific price you are willing to pay for your survival. Choose your financial trap carefully, because at the end of the day, the ledger always collects its due.